So, welcome to all of you who are here in real time and those of you who might access this in the future. I hope that this workshop, Building Tools for Resilience, is going to be helpful and a blessing to all of you. Um, so, whatever brings you here, may you find what you need. And may this be a brave space where we hold our feelings and our experiences and the feelings and experiences of others with respect. May our hearts and our minds be open to learning something new, and may the Spirit of God be welcomed and honored in our thoughts, words, and actions. So, we know each other a little bit. I'm a spiritual director since 2012. I've been married since 2006, and I was ordained in the Mennonite Church in 2021. In the middle of lockdown and pandemic, we went out to a camp, and dear friends and family and congregation and people from all over the place actually mailed me a handprint so that we could have the laying on of hands. So we put it all together in this big kind of quilty albie thing, and it was a thing. I've had a private practice in spiritual direction called Butterfly Journeys for about 14 years now. And there's more about me and my ministry on my website, butterflyjourneys.ca. So, wherever you've come from, whatever you've experienced, I invite you to take a deep breath. Become aware of your breathing. Notice the air go in and out in rhythm. And now push all the air out as you take the next breath. Just push it all out. And then as you take the next breath, I invite you to hold it without closing off your throat. Just hold it at the top of your breath. And when you're ready, release that breath and breathe normally again. When we do that with such consciousness, it invites us to be present in our body, which is your first tool for resilience. When we bring our awareness right to our physical earthly home right here, we calm our nervous system just a little bit. We bring our awareness right here and we say, I am here. And that's a gift to your earthly home, your body. So we live in interesting times, and we've spent some time reflecting on that in different places already. And I don't want to go into it and fill your minds and hearts with all kinds of other traumas and tragedies. But it's true, we live in interesting times, in times where things are in all kinds of upheaval. When we look around in our various congregations and church communities, we notice that most of these places are not growing. Most of these places are not attracting some balance greater than the year before. People are looking for other spiritual practices, or they're abandoning faith altogether. We no longer live under the arc of Christendom. In our culture, we're in a time of social media where we are bombarded by information all the time, 24/7, news cycles, wars, threats of wars, all kinds of stuff. It's happening all over the place all the time. We could talk about the climate, but mostly that would raise our stress levels even more. Into this also comes news about the church. I think of the author Phyllis Tickle, who talked about every 500 years, the church holds a rummage sale. Has anyone heard that? Every 500 years. So when we think about 500 years ago, that was the Reformation, right? And so we're in this cycle again where we're unwrapping everything. We're looking at the closets and the attics and the basements of church and faith and spirituality and religion. And we're reassessing what we love and what might just get put in the rummage sale for someone else to take home and love. It's an interesting image because it's playful. And I love the idea of playing with what's happening right now because when we add a sense of humor, when we add joy and laughter, it also gives us a tool for resilience. So that's the next one for your toolbox, some joy, some laughter. So Phyllis Tickle talks about this rummage sale where we're unpacking things. And so there's change, there's upheaval. And yet each time this has happened, the church emerges more able, more capable of addressing the culture and the world for this day and age. So we're throwing out some of the things that don't serve anymore. And we're looking at ways to reinvigorate our spirituality, which actually I find really exciting. When we look at culture, right now in culture, we are deepening our understandings of the human psyche. An incredible advancement of longevity. I got the word. Longevity is happening. Before the pandemic, medical studies showed that our average longevity in North America had been increasing 3 months every year. Wow, that's amazing. What does that do to? Well, we have a healthier diet. We have global hunger is falling since the pandemic. Healthcare is advancing. We're understanding much more about how the human body works and what we can do to help it work better. And when we hear about positive things like 500 million children were fed at school globally this past year, over 100 million more than were fed 5 years ago. Global unemployment reached its lowest level since 1991. More than 80% of the world's adults now have access to bank accounts. This is an incredible increase from only 50% in 2011. So all kinds of things are happening. In August, World Health Organization, and UNICEF released data showing that over the last decade, 961 million people gained access to drinking water. 1.2 billion gained safe sanitation, and 1.5 billion gained basic hygiene services. Over the same period of time, the number of people without electricity fell by 292 million, even as the global population grew by 760 million people. According to International Energy Agency, this represents the fastest expansion of electricity accessed in history. There's more good news. Over the last year, a record 17 countries eradicated a disease, the highest number in history, and more than 10 million children were vaccinated against malaria. Now, malaria is a disease that really, really affected many, many communities and countries in Africa. It wasn't important to us here in North America. We didn't hear about all these brown kids in Africa getting access to this healthcare. But wow, it made a difference to them. Didn't make the headlines, but what an incredible story. Overall, we have built the safest civilization in human history while convincing ourselves that we live in the most dangerous. Billions of people experienced measurable improvements in health, safety, and material conditions in the last year. The progress didn't make the news, but it happened anyways. One vaccine, one school meal, 1 kilowatt hour at a time. Want to hear some climate news? engineers in China somehow installed 230 million solar panels in a month. And China has also converted tens of thousands of square kilometers of its deserts into green farmland. Using simple techniques involving straw grids, renewables are replacing coal and gas, not supplementing them. 10 years ago, projections showed us heading towards 4 degrees Celsius or more of global warming. Today, those estimates are at 2.7% Celsius. And if current patterns hold, we might actually stay below 2 degrees, which is the difference between catastrophic and survivable. All of this good information comes from a website called fixthenews.com. And there's another tool for your toolbox. If you're looking for some good news, if you're looking for a last minute sermon illustration to encourage people, fixthenews.com. And they do a summary every year where they send out good news for people. The top 100 best stories of news that didn't hit the mainstream media. And yet, so many people are feeling anxiety. Into this comes the good news that we can take active steps to calm our nervous systems and heal traumatic memories. So I want to give you 2 skills that come from brain science, that come from psychology research, that come from all kinds of good science out there, where people are figuring out ways to assist our nervous system. So here's a couple of practices. I'm going to invite you to engage in the practice. Then I'm going to put the steps of the practices into the chat so you can copy and paste into a document to save for later. So I don't want you to focus on writing down. I want you to focus on experiencing, because as we've discovered in learning, we learn by doing. And so I want you to do this. I want to actually invite you into thinking about 2 things. One, first technique will focus on a difficult feeling. So maybe you want to focus on anxiety. Maybe you want to focus on guilt. Maybe you want to focus on whatever was stirred up in that last meeting you were in. Whatever you want to choose. I'm not going to make you share it, so you can pick something personal. And the second technique, I'm going to invite you to recall a difficult memory. And we're going to de-energize the difficult memory. So the first one is getting in touch with a difficult feeling. So take a moment, maybe you want to close your eyes, maybe you want to take a deep breath, and think of a time when you experienced something really challenging. Maybe your emotions, maybe you felt flooded. Maybe you felt overwhelmed by the intensity of it. Give this feeling a name. Name it and amplify it. Really get in touch with how that felt. Maybe you felt queasy in your stomach. Maybe you felt your shoulders tensing up. Maybe you felt a headache coming on. Whatever it was, get in touch with it. Amplify it. And rate it. 0 was, that was no big deal, and 10 was, I almost died. So rate it, give it a number, and maybe you want to write that number down somewhere just for future reference. So get in touch with the feeling and name it. And now I want to invite you to stroke your arms from shoulder right to your hands. So you'll put your left hand on your right shoulder and your right hand on your left shoulder and stroke down firmly, not too much pressure, but also not too lightly, all the way to your hands. So I'm just going to adjust my screen so you can see from shoulder all the way out to your hands. And I want you to keep doing that action as we go through these steps. So stroke your arms. Now clear your mind from the difficult emotion and visualize yourself walking on a beach. And you do this for 20 counts. So I'm going to count 20 and you just keep doing it. Visualize yourself walking on a beach. Maybe you hear the ocean waves. Maybe you hear the birds. Maybe you smell the fresh air. Maybe you're walking with a loved one. Feel the comfort of their presence with you. Keep stroking your arms and visualize that scene on the beach. 5 more seconds. And now, as you continue to rub your arms from shoulder to wrist, I invite you to remember a time when you felt really good. Anytime. Visualize this, again, using all your senses. Focus on what you saw. Focus on what you heard, what you felt with your fingers, what you smelled, what you tasted. Really, really get in touch with that good feeling and give this feeling a color. It can be any color you want. Visualize that color and move it through your body. If you want to pour it from your toes and visualize your body like a cup filling up, or maybe you want to start with your head and let it pour all the way down. Visualize that color, whatever it is. Move it through your body. That beautiful color that symbolizes the time when you felt really good. And now imagine walking through a beautiful garden. Notice what you see and smell and feel as you walk through this beautiful garden. All right, come on out. Take a moment to reflect on what that was like for you. Notice that feeling that you thought of earlier. Whatever number that was, maybe it was a 7 or 8, 6 or 7, that intensity. What does it feel like now? Give it a new number. As you think about that number, how many of you noticed a little bit of a change, a little bit of a shift, a little bit less? And the beauty of this little 6-step process is that you can use it with yourself. You can use it with somebody that you're going to visit. You can use it with children. It's really effective wherever you go. You can use it in an emergency situation. You're visiting somebody in the hospital and they're feeling anxious about a diagnosis or some difficult news or whatever it is. This is a tool you can bring. It focuses on the fact that we are programmed to feel comfort in that kind of stroking. When you think about babies, when they're born, we wrap them up in swaddling clothing, right? We wrap them tight. That's something that is a little bit newer that we're taught that this is helpful. When I think of the indigenous folks in my country, they had these boards that they wrapped the kids into, and they would carry these kids along in these bundling boards. And it was a real gift to the kids. They just felt secure. They felt safe in those situations and circumstances. So this is a technique that's called havening. So when you think about going to a safe haven, This is a portable haven that you can give yourself. And even if you have a loved one who is suffering from dementia or is unable to do that action themselves, you can actually sit behind them. If they're sitting in a wheelchair, you can do that around them. Or if there's a small child who's comfortable sitting on your lap, you can do that action around them as well as you're leading them through this process. So before I forget, I'm going to plop that into the chat. Does anyone have any questions about that technique? You all right? All feeling pretty clear on how that all goes? All right. So the next one we're going to do is called movie theater. So I want you to, again, close your eyes and visualize a difficult memory, a time when things didn't go super well. Before we get into that, let me just tell you a tiny bit about trauma. Trauma happens when our capacity to metabolize a challenging emotional experience, when we don't have capacity. So we all have a certain cup of capacity. And so I get a difficult phone call. Somebody calls me up and says, "Oh, they're going to do something next week." And I think, "Oh, well, that's unfortunate, but it's not going to affect me too badly." So it fits in my cup. But if I get a phone call that says, "Your parents just died," that might exceed my cup in the moment. Long term, I might be able to handle that, but in the moment, that's really intense. And so that might incite a bit of trauma for me because my capacity has been exceeded. Now, the really awesome thing about Jesus and our faith is that Jesus' capacity is unlimited. And so when we team up with him, we can do a lot harder things. So many of you have a relationship with a small child, maybe in the past, maybe currently. And if we ask that small child to go down into the basement and get something alone in the dark, maybe that child might resist our request. Even though we have a loving relationship, that child will say, "No way. There's monsters down there. Why would you send me?" But if you say, "Will you take my hand? Let's go downstairs and get that thing," the child will say, "Sure, yeah, that's possible, no problem." Because the child knows that when an adult appears, the monsters disappear and it's safe, right? And so that's a fun little example of capacity. Children have tiny capacities because they're just little, and that's just the way it is. And so a lot of our own personal trauma happens when we are tiny because we have little cups and the capacity gets exceeded. And so we no longer have the capacity to metabolize a difficult experience. We get flooded, we're overwhelmed. And so trauma can happen. It can happen at any time. If we have a really difficult experience, even as an adult, we can be traumatized. But a lot of our trauma happens when we're children because we just don't have the capacity that adults have. So a lot of our memories in our difficult memories reside in our childhood. So as I invite you to recall a difficult memory, maybe it's last week, maybe it's last week's council meeting at church, or maybe it's something someone who was supposed to be loving and caring did to us, whatever. But maybe it's way back in our childhood, and it could be as simple as, you know, my sister got an ice cream cone and I didn't get to have one when we were out at the fair, and you don't understand why, whatever it is, because when we're tiny we can't metabolize that injustice. So take a moment and recall a difficult memory. Notice your feelings. And again, rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. And hold that number. Maybe you want to write down the number on a piece of paper somewhere to come back to. And now I'd like to invite you to visualize sitting in a movie theater. You walk into the theater and it's dark and there's a bunch of seats, and you pick one and you sit down. And you see this big screen in front of you. There's nothing playing yet. You're just kind of settled in. Settle your body into that seat, but now pull your awareness out of your body so that you can see the back of your head and go all the way up to the control room. And now expand your awareness to include Jesus, Holy Spirit, God with you. Pick a divine image that you find comforting and a joy to be with. Notice what the divine mystery does. Does God greet you, welcome you? You just kind of settle in to a comfort. Maybe there's a word, a little bit of wisdom or compassion that Jesus offers. And notice there is a movie reel. Remember the old style movie reels before we even had VHS tapes or DVDs? There's an old style movie reel sitting there. And it is the movie reel of that difficult experience that you recalled a moment ago. And next to it is a device. This device decolorizes the film. So take that device and wave it over the movie. You're taking all the color out. So now the film is on grayscale. It's just black and white. And as you set up the projector, put the movie reel in the opposite side. So that movie reel is going to be fed backwards through the film for the projector. And now when you're all set up, crank the movie, but crank it backwards. So here you are in the control room watching yourself watch this movie in black and white backwards. And it's going really fast. Notice how it just zips by and everybody is talking kind of Mickey Mouse-ish. And it's just whatever's happening is happening reverse in black and white backwards. Whoosh. Here goes the memory. Now take a moment to notice what you are feeling. How are those feelings? Remember what we rated 1 to 10? What feeling are you experiencing now? How intense is that feeling? Is it any less? Now take that movie reel off the end and move it back to the other side and do it again. Black and white, backwards, zoom. It zooms by, run it even faster than you did the time before. Whoosh. There goes that memory, black and white backwards. The people are talking Mickey Mouse. Notice your feelings. And now repeat that process one more time. Put that movie reel in at the end, run it backwards, black and white, really quick. Whoosh. And now turn to the divine presence with you and just ask What do you want me to know about this? How are you doing? Does anyone want to share anything or have any questions?
For me, the second one really, the movie theater kind of resonated with me in part because Jesus was there, and that made it safe go go back to the, and then the fact that it went backwards and it went faster each time made me realize it was really just a small blip in my life, and I made it through. And somehow that was very freeing. I don't know if that's what you're supposed to think with these kinds of exercises, but that's how it hit me.
I don't think there's a right or wrong, but there is a good and a beautiful, and you hit it. Yeah. Yeah. The process gives us a little bit of perspective, a little bit of a distance from it. And yeah, having Jesus there, the one with unlimited capacity, right? It's like that little kid holding the adult's hand. Oh, okay, I'll go downstairs. I have the courage then because I have you with me. Beautiful. Anyone else? All right, take another breath. I'm going to teach you a little bit about the vagus nerve. I'm a spiritual director, so I really love the sacred interior spaces in the spirit rather than in the body. I don't know much about the body. Mostly my biology goes to the body is a sack of goo and you got to keep the goo inside. But in this work, I've learned a couple of different things about some different ways that our body works, that we are divinely and incredibly created by God. And one of those is the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is also known as the 10th cranial nerve, and it plays a crucial role in our autonomic nervous system. which is responsible for regulating involuntary functions within the human body. So this nerve carries both sensory and motor fibers and serves as a major pathway that connects the brain to our various organs, like our hearts, our lungs, our digestive tract. And it's a key part of the parasympathetic nervous system. And as such, the vagus nerve helps regulate essential involuntary functions like heart rate, breathing, digestion. And by controlling these processes, the vagus nerve contributes to the body's rest and digest response, helping to calm the body after stress, lower heart rate, improve digestion, and maintain homeostasis. So that's a little bit of biology. The vagus nerve actually goes throughout a large part of our bodies. And when we think about when we're nervous, we have a certain response, right? We get butterflies in our stomach, our shoulders clench up, our breathing changes, our heart rate changes. We notice these things when we pay attention to what's happening inside of us. And there's a few things that we can do to help the vagus nerve feel more regulated. So one of them is singing. So one lovely thing that we get to do is sing. Well, and when we sing with other people, even better. But when we sing really low, and men are more equipped to sing lower than women, but we can all reach a low note if we're not trying to sing too loudly, and we can feel the vibration inside our chests. And the note that, or the syllable I was taught this was VU, but you can do any syllable you want. But if you just kind of get into the low chest voice and sing on VU, and as I do that, I actually feel a hum or a vibration right inside me, and it can go all the way down into my belly. So I'm going to invite you to sing with me. You don't have to unmute if you don't want to. But this is the VU. VU. How does that feel when you do that?
It tickles my lips.
It does a little, doesn't it? Do you feel a vibration anywhere else?
I have to try it again.
Yeah. And it's kind of neat to do when you're lying down too, because then your diaphragm isn't breathing in the same way often. And we can really get that breath in. But that is an incredible instantaneous thing. Like if you're going into a difficult meeting and you're still sitting in your car somewhere mostly private, you can do that VU, and it really helps calm your nervous system down so that you can bring more of yourself to whatever you're going into. Our vagus nerve has endings in our eyes, and we can gently massage our eyeballs, or we can move them from side to side. After a long time on Zoom, you've been focusing forward, so just take a moment to look as far to one side and then to the other side. This gives you a little bit of stimulus to help your vagus nerve know that you're taking care of it. There's also endings in that little flap in front of your ear. And if you just rub that gently but firmly, it is a way to just kind of calm things down and relax. You can also put an ice pack on your neck on each side for 5 minutes, or a massage there. That will help. Or a laughter. Laughter is an incredible way to help shift your focus if you're getting a little too serious, a little too heavy. You can engage in laughter therapy. There's actually laughter groups starting up where people get together and they just laugh. They start by fake laughing, and sure enough, somebody's going to have a goofy enough laugh, and you're going to start really laughing. And it's just a way of calming your system down. I can tell it's really working for Janet because you're yawning. That's awesome.
I'm sorry, I never do this, and all of a sudden I'm like really yawning. I
Exactly.
must be very relaxed.
Exactly. You're
Thank
doing
you.
it. No apology necessary. That's awesome. So paying attention to your breath, just really taking deeper breaths, longer breaths can help calm your system down. Another thing you can do is that there are different energies in each one of your fingers. And I know when I was going through a season of really intense grief, this finger, your ring finger, is the finger for grief. And so I would just hold that finger and talk to my grief and just say, yep, I see you. I know you're there. I know it's hard. And I'm here. I'm paying attention, holding. And that was an incredible gift for me in that season, just holding that finger. The thumb is for comfort. So you see babies, right? They suck their thumb. I'm not advocating that you suck your thumb in the middle of an intense church meeting, but if you're, yeah, just a little bit of massage, just holding your thumb. You know, if you can hold your hands in your lap underneath a table, no one notices. Even if you don't have a table, just kind of holding your hands undramatically. You can just kind of grab onto that thumb, and it just gives your system a little bit of comfort, a little reminder that you're okay. Any questions about anything that I've covered so far? You doing all right? Okay. I'm going to give
Thank you. Thank you, Laura. I was thinking in this text of Isaiah 42 about the suffering servant. Because I think that when I compare my difficult experiences, when I will remember that situation, it was hard for me, but I remember that when we are suffering because we are following the way of the cross, in this case that we are rejecting the violence, we are rejecting the revenge. It is the way that we are that we are suffering, we are walking.
Absolutely.
So I recognize that my harder experience is connected with this text about the suffering servant from Isaiah 42.
And
thank you so much for the techniques, because it helps so much to me, and especially when we were involved more in academic context at the university as professor. Really, we are disconnected so much with this kind of techniques. We are more intellectual. We are more working with our reasons and intellectual.
yes.
But we separate so much this part of our humanity, and we need to develop it too.
Yeah. And for you to bring up that passage of the suffering servant, that's referring to Jesus, right? And he suffered everything. Even to the point of death, a humiliating, torturous death. And yet he stayed relational. He stayed compassionate. So he knows how to do it. And he is right there with you. I will never leave you or forsake you, right? Just like we did in the movie theater technique, Jesus is always with us. He's not just some academic teacher who taught some good things and we're going to follow the things he taught. His presence is with us. That's Emmanuel, God with us, right? And that's the good news. That's the good news that we carry around and share with others as leaders, right? I have a final gift that I want to offer you, and it's from People and Places of Sacred Interior Spaces. I collected guided meditations. I wrote a bunch of them, and I collected them and tucked them into this little book and published them in a pandemic. Kind of an awkward time to publish a book, but there it is. And so that's half the book, and the other half is some creative monologues. I'm imagining the backstory of mostly biblical characters. There's one from the very early church as well. But this is from People and Places of Sacred Interior Spaces, and it is based on a very simple technique that helps with anxiety. So if you're experiencing anxiety, the reality most likely is that you're somewhere in the past, worrying about what was, ruminating over something stressful, or worried about the future. Something's going to happen and it's going to be bad, and I'm not going to be able to handle it, and that won't be good. So this grounding brings you right here, right now. And with all of my guided meditations, I start with an invocation to one particular aspect or image of God that can help us with this particular thing. So this one is about the one who grounds us. And when the guided meditation is over, I end with a blessing. So I'll give you that blessing as well. So I invite you to get comfortable, and we'll begin by a prayer to the grounding one. Oh, grounding one, help us open our hearts to this present moment so that we may become less anxious and more centered. So take a few deep breaths and notice the air go in and out. And take a moment to focus on your eyes. Your eyes work hard all day, taking in information. Now take some time to look around. Notice something you can see around you. Maybe it's something significant to you. Maybe it's something beautiful. What do you appreciate about this object? The shape, the color, the function, or the sentimental value? Take a moment and appreciate it. And now repeat this exercise. What's a second thing that you can see and appreciate? Take a moment to take it in. Express some gratitude. I invite you to do that with a third object. Something you can see, appreciate, feel grateful for. I invite you to do that with a fourth object. Appreciate something beautiful around you. And one more object. Find a fifth object somewhere around you. Take it in. Feel the gratitude. And now thank your eyes for the good work they do for you. Your eyes are a gift of God. And now take a moment to focus on your hands. Your hands work hard all day, taking in information. Now take some time to notice something you can touch. Notice a texture. Maybe it's your clothing or what you're sitting on. Notice that texture. Take a moment to feel grateful for that texture. Now notice a second texture. Is it rough or smooth? Is it warm, soft, sticky? Notice. Now notice a third texture somewhere around you. Is it hard or cold? Express some gratitude for that texture and move on to a fourth texture. What can you feel around you? Maybe it's your own skin. Now thank your hands for the good work they do for you. And take a moment to focus on your ears. Your ears work hard all day, taking in information. Now take some time to notice something you can hear. Are there sounds around wherever you are? What do you notice about this sound? Is it far away? Is it something closer? Is it pleasant? Maybe it's quiet. Is it repetitive? Soothing? Surprising? Let's see if you can hear a second sound. Notice the sound. Appreciate it. And move on to the third and final sound. Is there another sound in your environment somewhere you can notice? Now thank your ears for the good work they do for you. And now take a moment to focus on your nose. Your nose works hard all day, taking in information. And take some time to notice something you can smell around you. What do you appreciate about this aroma? Is it delicious? Is it familiar? Maybe it's sweet. Maybe it's not so nice. Just notice the smell. Repeat this exercise one more time with another aroma you might be able to discern in your environment. Now take a moment to thank your nose for the good work it does for you. And lastly, take a moment to focus on your tongue. Your tongue works hard all day, taking in information. Now take some time to notice. Maybe you have a drink nearby, or maybe you have a little snack. Maybe there's a little bit of lunch left somewhere in the corner of your mouth. Find a taste. Can you appreciate something about this taste? Is it sweet or sour, salty or bitter? And thank your tongue for the good work it does for you. And now, in conclusion, take one more moment to express gratitude to the one who made you and all your senses. Thank you, God, for creating sights and sounds, textures and smells and tastes that we can enjoy and experience the world through these senses. And take one more moment to express gratitude to the one who made you and all your senses. Take another deep breath to close this exercise and receive this blessing. May you take this grounding with you into your day. Thank you to each of you for showing up and for opening your hearts and your toolboxes to this process and to this presentation. Does anyone have any final comments or questions?
I really appreciate how you led us through these things. I'm feeling extremely relaxed.
Time for a nap.
Could be. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
I appreciate it too. And part of it is just getting a little glimpse of the kinds of things you do in your daily work.
Yeah.
Blessings in your work.
Thank you very much. I really love what I do. Most of it is working one-on-one with people, helping them connect with the Spirit of God and be empowered for their day. Some of it is healing from trauma. Some of it is just being a witness, holding space for people, walking alongside them in their spiritual journey. I say that I have a front row seat in what God is doing in the world through the people that I get to work with. So it's amazing. I love it.
Takes energy to listen like that.
But it also gives energy when I realize that the international symbol for spiritual directors is 3 chairs. So there's the director, the directee, and one for the spirit. And when we get to listen in that kind of triangle, it takes the weight off. I can't imagine being a secular counselor because I have the wonderful counselor on my right hand. It's just incredible.